Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there is a ton of news stories to get into today. So let's talk about Impact Wrestling and let's talk about the IIconics, because ever since the IIconics were released by WWE earlier this year, right after WrestleMania, there's been lots of discussions about where they're going to head next. One destination I think a lot of people have hoped they would land, especially Impact Wrestling fans, of course, is Impact Wrestling itself. It feels like it would be such a natural fit for both Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, considering they are a promotion that has women's tag team championships. Of course, you've got the Knockouts tag team titles currently held by the Decay, and the IIconics would be a perfect fit in there, of course. Now, their 90-day non-compete clause is up. So where are the IIconics? Well, there's a bit of an update when it comes to the future of the IIconics and where possibly they're going to head next, and some possible interest from Impact Wrestling themselves. Now, this comes a report by Fightful Select, which of course is Fightful's Patreon service. Be sure to check that out and subscribe. They do a ton of amazing information, especially considering the weekend that is approaching us. Friday, of course, you've got Rampage, the debut of CM Punk. Saturday, you've got SummerSlam. Sunday, you've got NXT TakeOver. Friday as well, from an Impact point of view, you've got Impact Emergence. It's a very good time to be subscribed to Fightful Select, one must say. Now, they are reporting that Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee, the IIconics, have been active in the free agent market, though they don't know, Fightful don't know where they're going to land currently. However, Fightful were told that the IIconics had interest from Impact Wrestling recently, but for now, it doesn't appear that a deal is being made between both parties. They have heard, though, that there is some interest from a new wrestling program scheduled for the fall. Now, they don't say what this new wrestling program is. Either way, irrespective of if the IIconics sign with Impact, AEW, wherever, they'll have to secure visas to remain in the United States, which Fightful have been told wouldn't have been an issue for either company to procure. So it's not a case of them not going to Impact because they can't secure the visas. It's not a case of them going to this new company, whatever this new company is, because of the visas. Where basically wherever they go, they can secure a visa. That's not an issue. So the reason that the IIconics currently aren't in Impact isn't because, the visa issue. They can get around that. They can sort that out. So I know some people, myself included, when I heard that report, the first thing I kind of said was, wait a minute, a new company starting up in the fall? There's so many pro wrestling companies right now. You've got WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, MLW, NWA, all of GCW, PWG's back. All of these companies are running right now. So what's this new company that's going to be starting in the fall? No, I don't think it's Jeff Jarrett and GFW coming back. At least I hope not. That would be a surprise to say the least. But in fairness, if you do listen to the My World podcast of Jeff Jarrett, you would hear that he and Conrad kind of joked about that at the end of their podcast this past week. So you never know. I think that mystery promotion that's being reported there, and I really don't know, this is just speculation on my part, but I think that mystery promotion might have something to do with that all-female women's promotion that was teased. I can't remember what it was called. It was something that was a teaser dropped for it about, I want to say, a month or so ago, and it was said it was a new promotion, and it was essentially teasing that it was going to be an all-female promotion. I don't know who's going to be running that promotion. I don't know who owns that promotion. We don't know a lot about it, but they would fall into that category. Certainly the IIconics, right? You got two female talents, two major names, two former WWE stars, relatively fresh off WWE television. I know it was April, but relatively fresh off WWE TV. I mean, when Billie Kay got released by WWE, she'd performed on WrestleMania just a week before that, or days before that. So they certainly would be names. They're not needle movers for any company that they go to, but they're certainly assets, irrespective of where they sign, certainly. So I don't know. It's an interesting one when it comes to the IIconics. I still don't think it changes my opinion too much on the sense that, for me, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce would still be massive assets to Impact, and Impact is still pushing with the Knockouts Tag Team division. As I mentioned, you've just had the Decay win the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, but at the same time, you've just had the tag team that you gave the Knockouts Tag Team Championships to, once you brought them back, Fire and Flavor, split up because Kiera Hogan's left the company. It's looking like she's going to sign with AEW. Of course, she made her debut this Monday on Dark Elevation, and she's going to be appearing on Rampage on Friday too. So while she may not have actually signed a contract with AEW, she's pretty much all elite at this point. And I always thought that the IIconics coming into AEW, into Impact Wrestling rather, would be a perfect antithesis to go up against Fire and Flavor. I thought two good teams, two legitimate tag teams, two teams that are great on the mic as well. I would have liked to have seen that, but obviously that's not the case now. So the IIconics situation is kind of up in the air. I still do think there'll be a place for them to come into Impact. Impact are incredibly flexible when it comes to contracts. So just because they can't work out an exclusive deal with the IIconics, which to be honest, I don't think the IIconics would sign anyway, they know that there's going to be some demand for them. Maybe AEW isn't interested, but nevertheless, there is some demand for them. And if they want to work with this all-female promotion, which is going to be interesting as we learn more details about it in terms of who owns it, the backer, who's booking it, do they have television, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be interesting to see. But why couldn't you work out a deal where you can work for both promotions? We're living in this reality where realistically it's only WWE that kind of operates on that model anymore. It's only WWE that says if you sign for us, you'll sign for this, that's it. Other companies, AEW, there are actual clauses in contracts saying you can work for New Japan. New Japan have a working relationship now with Impact Wrestling and with AEW. Of course, Impact have working relationships with AAA, AEW, NWA, possibly Ring of Honor in the future. So, again, they could come in on a handshake deal, a per appearance deal. Matt Cardona did an interview recently where he said, look, I don't even have a contract right now with Impact Wrestling. I've never had one. He's been there since January, and he's doing all this kind of other stuff as well. Impact Wrestling, if they think you're worth it, they will bend over backwards to get you in the door. And then eventually they'll grind you down, and then you can sign a contract, and then they can start talking about maybe putting belts on you or maybe start booking you in a certain way and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's completely ruled out that the IIconics will sign for Impact. As of right now, a deal hasn't been reached, but certainly there is interest, and why wouldn't there be interest? But I think that maybe, just maybe, and this again is speculation on my part, but maybe the IIconics have had discussions with this new women's promotion, and maybe they're interested or they like what they've heard, and maybe they want to keep their options open. Time will only tell about that, but certainly is going to be interesting going forward. Now, another interesting thing, I mentioned this previously, we spoke about this a couple of times, but Madison Rayne, former Knockouts champion Madison Rayne, will bring back her Locker Room Talk segment on this week's episode of Impact Wrestling on Access TV. Of course, that's tonight. Impact announced today that Rayne's guest will be Tenille Dashwood. That isn't the actual... What's crazy is that isn't the actual graphic. That's an old graphic, but it works, which is always a concern, isn't it? But Rayne returned to Impact Wrestling last week to help Dashwood defeat Taylor Wilde. Tonight's talk show segment will lead to Rayne's upcoming in-ring return. Of course, she did participate in several matches, the most recent sets of Impact Wrestling television taping, so that retirement didn't last that long. As I mentioned before, Madison Rayne earlier this year retired from Impact Wrestling. Of course, she was previously a color commentator with her husband, Josh Matthews, when they were replaced by Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown. Josh Matthews actually got promoted. He went into a kind of producer, head of digital content role, whatever it's called. He got promoted. He talks to the announcers in the headsets whilst the show's going on as well. Whilst Madison Rayne went into just another career. She left the wrestling business just completely. I think it was something to do with fitness. She might have become a personal trainer. I don't know. It was something like that, and she's back already, so that retirement didn't last that long. So she's back, and she is going to be wrestling because that's going to be coming up over the course of the next few weeks. Impact has also announced Matt Cardona versus Shera for Impact tonight. This comes after Rohit Raju distracted Cardona last week, allowing Impact newcomer John Skyler to defeat him. Cardona will be out for revenge tonight as he faces Raju's Muscle Shera. A big tag team match has also been announced for Impact tonight as Moose and Ace Austin face Sami Callihan and Chris Sabin. Of course, these four wrestlers will compete in a fatal four-way match at tomorrow's Impact Emergent Special, with the winner becoming the new number one contender to the Impact World Championship. Of course, that's currently held by AEW star Christian Cage. As far as what are my plans for Impact Emergence, the answer there is I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that one. I think if I'm correct, and I might not be, but if I'm correct, I hope anyway, and I'll have to double check this. If we can do an Impact Emergence watch along and it ends before Rampage starts, then that's what I'll do. But I am going to be doing a watch-along for Rampage as well. I don't mind going back-to-back and doing an Emergence watch-along and then straight into a Rampage one, but it must be said that I don't know if that's actually happening or not. So I think if it's too close, we're going to be doing a Rampage watch-along and then the Rampage post-show, because we're going to be talking about CM Punk, obviously. When it comes to Emergence stuff, We might put that on Saturday, but of course Saturday is SummerSlam. It's just a very busy weekend. It's a very busy weekend. Of course, usually I would do a watch-along and a post-show for Impact Emergence, but it just might not be feasible on Friday because of everything that's going on. If we can do it, and if someone can let me know the timings, I mean, I'll look it up anyway. It's just because I don't have it to hand right now. But if we can do it, feasibly can do it, I will do a watch-along of Impact Emergence. But I don't want to do it for, say, like an hour and a half and then have to cut out because there's no point doing it. Otherwise, really, is there? So I will wait and see when it comes to that. But we will be doing Emergence content. I'll probably upload at least one Emergence video on Saturday along with the SummerSlam previews and all that kind of stuff. So now is the best time to subscribe. Click the notification bell because you'll be notified when we upload the videos. You'll be notified when we go live for the watch-alongs and the post-shows. You'll be notified when we do the preview videos. It's going to be a weekend. It's going to be a crazy weekend to say the least. So on a related note as well, talking about Impact this week, it was announced that the Before the Impact on Access TV show will feature Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champion Havoc versus Tasha Steelz. Of course, they've been feuding recently. I think it's probably going to lead to a Knockouts Tag Team Championship match at some point too. The post-Impact edition of Impact on 60 will feature the best of Impact's UK invasion with the greatest matches and moments of Magnus. Of course, that's Nick Aldis, Doug Williams or Douglas Williams, and Rob Terry. God, I haven't heard that name in a while. The Freak Rob Terry. Now, Impact taped Emergence Victory Road Before the Impact and Impact on Access TV this past Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at Skyway Studios in Nashville. Of course, we've spoken about that a lot on the previous video, so you'll be able to find that out on the channel as well. But again, it's a spoiler warning, so you have to prepare that at your own risk. Speaking of spoilers as well, we do know what the card is going to look like for Victory Road. And what do you think of this Victory Road backdrop, by the way? It's literally just the logo. But I always, at this point, and this is a peek behind the curtain here, that this just kind of shows that this channel is always like my baby because I started it from day one, and even all the graphics, everything you see on the screen right now, that's all me. And I, for some reason, so get a kick out of changing backgrounds and changing like this little graphic here, these things, changing it to black and to yellow and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's just, I think it's almost like an OCD thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Anyway, we do know the matches that are going to be happening at Victory Road on Impact Plus. So again, spoilers. If you don't want to know, if you want to go for the ride, you can leave now. We'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the matches have been revealed for the 2021 Victory Road special from Impact Wrestling. It's going to be an Impact Plus event, of course. Now, Impact taped Victory Road at Tuesday's tapings from Skyway Studios in Nashville. Friday's Emergence was also taped on Sunday and Monday, along with other Impact content. So it was a very busy set of Impact television tapings, to say the least. Now, Impact does not announce the date of Victory Road as of recording right now, but as I mentioned, it will be exclusive to Impact Plus. It's going to air sometime in September. But it's really, really interesting. I will point out that it doesn't feature Christian Cage, which I think is smart. Because again, realistically, this probably is going to air after All Out, right? So there is a possibility, certainly a possibility, that Kenny Omega maybe could be the Impact World Champion. We don't know what the stipulation is going to be for All Out. It could be title versus title. It could be AEW World Championship and Impact World Championship winner take all. We don't know that's the case. So the fact that obviously you don't have Christian Cage competing on this Victory Road event because they taped it only a couple of days ago is smart, because it doesn't give out spoilers. Because if Christian Cage is still wrestling as the Impact World Champion, you'd know, well, they're definitely not going to put that title on the line. So it's smart. It's smart by Impact and AEW to do it that way. So the following matches were taped for Victory Road, and don't worry, we're not going to say who won these matches or anything like that. We're only doing partial spoilers here. So the X Division Championship will be on the line. It'll be Chris Sabin facing Josh Alexander. Now, I'm really looking forward to this one. This is a proper X Division Championship match. These are, I mentioned this when it comes to Josh Alexander previously, that report that came out a while ago, and I think it was another Fightful Select report that came out. It might have been a PW Insider one, actually. Either way, the report came out that basically said that Impact were putting a big renewed focus on the X Division. They wanted to elevate it to the level of the World Championship, and they basically wanted it to feel like the ECW Television Championship from the late 90s, early 2000s, with Rob Van Dam when he was champion for like 700 days or something ridiculous. They wanted it to feel that special. And the way you do that, the way you make it feel special, is you have great matches and great defenses of the belt. And that's exactly what Josh Alexander has done so far. He's beaten guys from New Japan, El Phantasmo. He's defended it in Ultimate X matches. He's defended it in Iron Man matches. He's defended it against, up-and-comers. He's defended it against veterans. And there's not many people on the roster, currently on the Impact roster, that are more closely associated with the X Division than Chris Sabin himself. I mean, he's an X Division OG, isn't he? I mean, does he even hold the record as the most X Division championship reigns? I think he's right up there, isn't he? So it would only make sense that Josh Alexander faces off against him, and I'm sure it'll be an excellent match. Looking at this card overall, without a World Championship match, to be honest, you would say that should be the one to main event. If you want to make the X Division Championship feel important and feel like it means something, have it main event the show. Why not? There's no other match on that show that I would say, that's got to be the main event. So I think that will. I think that will be the main event, which is exciting. You've got the Impact World Tag Team Championships on the line. You've got the Good Brothers, the Impact World Tag Team Champions, defending against Rich Swann and Willie Mack. This is an interesting one. I just think Rich Swann is just his sort of career in Impact post-World Championship is fascinating. He was in the biggest match of his career this year, and some of the matches he was having against big stars, or just not big stars, but big moments he was having an Impact was huge, and he'd really made that jump from being someone that was an X Division champion or maybe could challenge for a World Championship once in a blue moon. He won the title at Bound for Glory, biggest show of the year last year, and had successful title defenses, even won that unification match against Moose earlier this year at Sacrifice, which was a great match, but a surprising one. He's in the conversation of being in a match with Kenny Omega. He's main eventing Impact's biggest pay-per-view at Rebellion earlier this year in terms of buys, since Anthem purchased the company in 2017. So he's part of this big success. And what's he done after that? The answer is nothing. He has done absolutely nothing since then. He lost to W. Morrissey. He's been tagging with Rich Swann and Willie Mack, but they've not been winning matches. Tagging with Rich Swann. He is Rich Swann. Tagging with Willie Mack, but he's not been winning matches. And it does feel like a big drop-off from someone that was world champion having matches against Kenny Omega earlier this year. Now, there could be a wider story that they tell about that as someone that was the world champion and just completely fell off the cliff because of the devastating defeat and losing the biggest match of his career. They could do that, but they haven't. They haven't been doing that. They haven't been telling that story. At least it hasn't been coming across on Impact Wrestling television that they've been trying to tell that version of a story anyway, certainly. So the Rich Swann nosedive, if you will, is fascinating to look at. There was discussions earlier this year that his contract might have been expiring. I think that was in around May time, which explained why he was, say, losing to W. Morrissey, but he's still with the company now and it's August. So logic would suggest either he signed a new contract or he's working on a handshake deal, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's the company saying, look, we just can't push you to the level of being a world champion or a contender if you're not going to sign a deal, because we know you could go tomorrow. So why would we invest a load of time and money into you? I don't know, again, if that's the case, but that's the Rich Swann dynamic of him in his post-Impact World Championship run. It just seems very odd, doesn't it? You've got a Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. You've got the Decay and Rosemary and Havoc defending against Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. I mean, Kiera Hogan, when she left Impact, I said I thought she was going to go to AEW. She has done very, very quickly. And you have to, I guess, give her credit. Whilst I don't think the AEW Women's Division is better than the Impact Knockouts Division, because it's not. I don't think they get the booking right in there, and I don't think they get the positioning on the card that they should. But maybe that's improving. Look, it was the main event of the first ever episode of Rampage was a Women's Championship match. That's positive. That's a positive step in the right direction, but there is still ways to go for me in that division. But you have to give her credit, because I would think she's probably making more money in AEW. Certainly is on a bigger platform. She's on TNT Friday. She's wrestling on the show that CM Punk returns on. That ain't bad. As far as Rosemary and Havoc as the tag team champions, you know, I like Rosemary. This old Decay tag team. It is what it is. It is what it is. I do watch the Knockouts tag team division right now, and I think to myself that we mentioned the IIconics earlier on. They are desperate. Impact is desperate for an IIconics to come in and just shake that up a little bit, just to get some star power in there, and just to give the Knockouts tag team division something different. The only issue is who would be the one to really challenge them in there, because you could see them being in a situation a bit like the Good Brothers in the tag team division now, where they've come in, other tag teams leave, and they just kind of dominate. So that's interesting. You've got a no disqualification match, which is Matt Cardona versus Rohit Raju. Matt Cardona in Impact really does nothing for me. I'll be honest, it may sound harsh, but I mean it in the sense that The Matt Cardona we see in GCW is not the Matt Cardona we see in Impact Wrestling. I want to see the GCW version. I'd much rather see that guy. And I'd much rather see Nick Gage come into Impact Wrestling and start chasing Matt Cardona around. That would mean for excellent television, but I don't think that's going to happen. You've got a six-way scramble. You've got Laredo Kid, Black Taurus, Jake Something, Suicide, John Skyler, and Trey Miguel in a match. Those multi-man matches for the X Division Championship are always going to be interesting. I like Jake Something being involved in the X Division picture as well, because I think you need this bit of diversity. It shouldn't just be high-flying guys in the X Division. It should be a hybrid of styles, so that should be interesting. You've got Steve Macklin versus TJP versus P.T. Williams. I like what they've been doing with Steve Macklin. It certainly is a slow burn, to say the least, but I like the whole... It's a rip-off of the Punisher. That's what it is. But I think he plays it well. You've got W. Morrissey and Moose versus Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards. I'm a big fan of W. Morrissey and Moose being a tag team. If they're not going to do anything with Moose in terms of being a single star, which it doesn't look like they are right now, which I don't really get, but maybe that's just because other plans are calling for other plans. W. Morrissey and Moose as a tag team, that's a tag team that could be the tag team champions. I don't know how they get the titles off the Good Brothers right now, considering the Good Brothers are heels and W. Morrissey and Moose are heels, unless this is the way to turn Moose into a babyface, which I do think that could be a possibility. Then we have Moose as the one to break W. Morrissey's undefeated streak, say it Bound for Glory. I like that. Maybe they'll go in that direction. And finally, you have a bit of New Japan influence on the show. You have the Bullet Clubs, Chris Bay and Hikuleu facing Finjuice. So there's been a New Japan influence on the latest set of Impact TV tapings, but there wasn't any Jay White influence there, but there still was a New Japan influence, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they had Jay White come in for that Slammiversary appearance and the TV tapings afterwards. Wasn't to tease a match for potentially facing Kenny Omega in Impact. Maybe it was just a case of they just wanted to have Chris Bay go into the Bullet Club so we can make more appearances for New Japan and just maybe try and get over Chris Bay. Maybe that's the direction that they're going in. But look, guys, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on all of these Impact Wrestling news stories we've spoken about today? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about Impact Wrestling, AEW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved in the community. Drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. Really does help us out here on YouTube. Go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or having you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.